Good afternoon. Well, this is we're heading toward the new year, but I'll be talking to you before then. So it's overcast. It's 50 degrees, so it's not terrible. A little chill, and so if you're later, you're okay. Um, I have pet projects I followed my whole life. One of them is a thing called swarm intelligence, and you've seen it, and you probably know what it is. Uh, Actually, maybe a better example of swarm intelligence is not the bees. It is instead, if you watch geese flying and then you see them turn. Now, with modern movie equipment, you can see this, but uh, when it was discovered that when they turn, they change leaders so that they can make the turn. And you just watch them for a while, and it's fascinating. They're beautiful to watch anyhow. But this is a special phenomenon. This is swarm intelligence. This is the communicating in a distributed way without hierarchy to accomplish something. Now, this started with insects, I believe. And my wife Holly's grandfather was at the Smithsonian, and he was an entomologist, and he studied ants. He's worldwide known for ants. His name was Marion Smith. Holly's maiden name is Smith. I told her I wouldn't take her family name. I didn't want to be John Smith. It was never serious, but so what is the value of all of this? Well, let me give you another example. The ants, they travel and they find pathways to bring food back to the food back, and so do bees bring it to the hive, and they all, this distributed manner of intelligence is more efficient than a hierarchy, which has places where it can back up. And now the test with humans is you put a lot of people in a room, and they want them all to fly this aircraft. Now, we're talking about a computer program. But what happens is they start coordinating, and they do fly this tech plane by the way they distribute the intelligence in response to the problem. This has enormous possibilities when people are in groups and don't have the typical command information for, say, a military operation. The same is true of businesses and so forth. And I think this is going to become more important because of, well, immediately because of the infections that we have. People are going to develop methods of communicating, and the old hierarchies will be around, but they're going to communicate by the gathered intelligence, the distributed intelligence that come from my wife's grandfather and from Edmund Wilson, who just died, who studied it even further, studied biodiversity, introduced science into this, and himself studied ants. Now, he thought other biologists who were doing what they were doing, he compared them to stamp collectors. He didn't think they were like scientists. And Watson and Crick developed DNA. So you can't exactly say they don't have a right to be superior, but they were hardly sociable in their hard words, or Watson was anyhow. So in response, though, Wilson, who just died, he did start quantifying his observations and so forth. So he advanced the science. So what am I finally saying? I'm saying there are sophisticated ways we can organize, if you will, large operations. Plainly, this doesn't work in the Congress. You know, they get several people and they tell everybody else what to do, and they intimidate them into doing it. So you know, maybe we don't have intelligence, and maybe it's not distributed at all in the Congress. So that's kind of my adventure, my thing on swarm intelligence. And there are lots of books and stuff on it. And I think if you take two developments, swarm intelligence and chaos math or complexity math, depending on how you describe it. You have an exciting chapter in our development going forward, algorithms that encompass these two developments in semi-modern science, in the sense it's been around a long time, but it's not popularly considered. So that's my side adventure. What is the rest of my adventure? Well, there's an encouraging story about men having vasectomies. Now, they're having them, they're choosing to have them. And a good typical story was a man who decided to have a vasectomy because his wife was suffering from side effects from taking birth control pills. Now, that's a sensible decision, a man and a wife making that decision. Not a punishment. It was a desire to do what's right, and they had decided on the size of the family that they had, and that was the end of it. So I think that's a good thing. That's probably the same person that supports a person's right to control their body. So, and that's one good story. Now, a not so good story is that, and this season probably hasn't helped at all, is we have 226,000 average infections in the last 7 days. It's a moving average. And we have another moving average that should concern us, 1,415 deaths in that same period of time. We are canceling more flights. We're having more people ill. The hospitals are beginning to feel the pressure, not just the people who want to be tested, but people who are sick. And how sick they are, we're going to find out. As we know from experience from the beginning until now, that when the numbers go up, the deaths don't immediately go up. There's a lag between hospitalization and what else happens. So these are dangerous times, and our society would profit more if more people thought in terms of science. Now, here's a real stupid thing that's going on. And I think I mentioned it the other day, but I want to revisit it. First of all, what's the context? The context is people are mandated to be vaccinated or tested once a week and to wear masks. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you won't do it, get out of here. And some are refusing. Republicans who opposed unemployment insurance for people to force them to go to work want to pay unemployment to these people who defied mandates to keep us all safe. Now that's wrong on so many levels. I just don't know where to start. To basically reward or encourage people who defy our health and general welfare provisions are being rewarded for not working or complying with normal safety mandated as a result of this humongous infection. Talking about the latest variety, Omicron. So, how does a country that has so many stupid people and bad policies survive? We just have to outnumber them. We have to out-argue them. We have to pass mandates that matter. We have to compel right behavior. And it's interesting, as a 60s kid, I focus on how there was suppression of liberty to express criticism of government. And it seems today we have too many people that give a bye to government, state, and federal who are not doing the right thing. That is in terms of common sense, in terms of promoting the general welfare, in terms of health and safety, in terms of equal justice for all, in terms of preserving voting when there are autocrats out there who think that they should just be able to dominate the government and then tell everybody what to do. not getting any smarter in the process by acquiring that power should it happen, because we have all these people sitting in corners playing their fiddles and not fighting what's going on. So there we are. That's all I have to say today. And so have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.